Good afternoon, Greater Akron and worldwide right now. I am the coach, Kemp Boyd, Executive Director of Love Akron. And man, so happy to be with you. I feel like I haven't been here in a long time, but I'm glad to be here on today. There's been a lot happening and a lot going on in our community. But also, I just think, man, everywhere. It's just, man, we're in fall now. Kids are back in school. The going to bed early, getting up early, transporting kids. I have a driver, a third driver in my house now, which is my older daughter, Virginia. So she's driving, so I'm not having to take kids every morning to school. Praise the Lord. But very happy to be on with everybody today as we continue to shout out Love Akron and our Christian unity leg of our organization called ONECity. ONECity. Shout out to all my ambassadors out there, man. Pastor Darren Brake, Pastor Ladd from the Trinity Church, Pastor Darren Brake from House of the Lord, Pastor Brendan Glass from Span Ministries. We have Ron Kent, that's an elder over at Citizens. We have Sonny, who's with Grace. We have Joe Caruso, who's a pastor over at Grace Church. Man, who am I missing? Because I know I'm missing somebody. We got my man, Jason Knight from Connect Church, man. Just want to shout out all of our ambassadors. And always, man, thank you for your commitment to who we are and what we're doing as far as ONECity and being salt and light, presenting all types of resources to the body of Christ, but also how we are loving Greater Akron because we are all better together. And so it goes without further ado that, man, I'm blessed today. It doesn't mean that I'm without challenges. I'm challenged on every side. But man, the great thing about being challenged is that, man, you're not challenged all alone or by yourself. You get to do things with people. And that's what's really excited about our ONECity, man. We get to do this with one another. We're not doing it out of a silo approach, even though we all have churches that we pastor, that we work in, but we're doing this movement together, man. And it is a movement. And so things that are coming up, it's September. So everybody knows what goes on, man. The last Tuesday of the month here, September Love Akron. It's our annual awards breakfast. It is Tuesday, September the 27th. Doors are going to open at 6:30. We're going to get going at about 7 o'clock. We'll get you out at about 8:30. All right. So, hey, come and help us to honor those who won awards from our Allies Award winner. That's an award that we give in honor of Reverend Ron Fowler and Pastor Luke Larson. And also our Servant Leader Award, which is given in honor of Judge Brenda Unruh. And we also give out our Change Maker Awards. And those are given out to individuals or organizations that are making change. They're change agents, they're catalysts of change in our community for a really great thing that's happening and going on. So come and be with us again. That is Tuesday, September 27th. Doors open at 6:30. We'll get the program going at 7 o'clock. And at the end, I'll wrap it up and kind of give my call to action as we present our harvest report of Love Akron, of what we've done over the past year and the impact that you have helped us to make. Again, we didn't do this in and of ourselves, but you helped us to make this impact. So we're really excited about it. Looking forward to it. And just want to say too, man, today's a very special day. In our house, Stacy and I, as most of you know, we have 6 beautiful children. And today, our youngest child turned 5 years old. That's Matthias. So today's his birthday. And man, it's just something, you watch your kids grow up and become their own individuals. So really happy for him and glad we're going to be able to celebrate him today, but also tonight as well. And just want to give a shout out to everybody out there, man, that's just doing it. That's boots on the ground, out here doing the work. I think about people, man, out here in the city, in the community, like a Justin Hilton, newly minted president, CEO of Leadership Akron. My man, Justin, man, out here doing big things. So I appreciate you, Justin, and all that you do. Jeremy Lyle, Executive Director of Heart to Heart. I think about all those who are leading and running foundations. My friend, my sister, Christine Mayer over at GAR. Kyle Kudachief over at John S. Knight, the Knight Foundation. My man, Jim Mullen over at the United Way. What's up, Jim? Appreciate you, man. And just everybody, man, the whole ACF crew with John G, John Pateris, everybody. And my main man, Rick Keller, who is the president, CEO over at the PEGS Foundation. Thank you so much for what you do, how you are a resource to our community in all different facets and elements. Just really appreciate you. And I also want to give a big up and a thanks to our board here at Love Akron, our board chair, Dave Beasley, our vice chair, Chris Young. But I'm so thankful for our board. Our board has stood behind me and stood behind our vision of where we are. And man, to look at where we are today and versus where we were about 2.5 years ago, it's truly just a God thing of how God has blessed us. But not only have they blessed us, but man, our partners, our friends, our relationships, you have been a blessing us. So I want to say thank you to all of our partners, all those people that have come in and helped us convene meetings or have come to a meeting that we've convened. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And so that's all kind of my stuff out of the way. But now I want to get to something really serious. You know, if you've been in Greater Akron, especially inner city Akron, you have an understanding idea of what this past summer was like. From what happened to Ethan Lemmy over at the I Promise School with his brutal murder, but also the death of Jalen Walker, who was shot by Akron police officers over 90 times. And in times like these, if we're not careful, what the world would have us to do, the world would want to say, okay, well, what side are you on? What side are you choosing? You know, and they make it almost this either or perspective. Well, you're either for Jalen and against the police, or you're for the police and against Jalen. And so let me just say this for our audience and everybody out there listening. You know, I got asked a couple of weeks ago, or even questioned about where does my loyalties lie and whose side am I standing on? And really, what I'm standing on is I'm just standing in and for Jesus at the end of the day, because I think that's who he was. He just kind of met people where they are. So when we can move away and kind of meet people where they are, that's what we continue to do. And so, Phyllis, thank you. You said, what is your vision? Well, we like to call this our being statement. And we are a Christian-based organization. We are an intersectional hub looking to unify the colors and cultures and congregations to help Greater Akron thrive. That is our being statement, which we feel like our being statement is our vision statement, because we believe that whatever we do is going to be birthed from our being. And so our doing statement, which is our mission, is that we're the great connector and convener that leads to collaboration with change makers in order to make a collective impact across Greater Akron. Because again, I don't think none of us can do this in and of ourselves, but we have to do it collectively with one another. And on that note, it's a great segue to something that's going to be going on this Saturday, starting at 3 p.m. over at Burning Bush Church. It's going to be the second annual Cops and Community Conversation. And so we're really, really excited about this and really thankful for our guest, Pastor Dejuan Kelker, who has really allowed us to come in on this journey with him. He's done this before at his church, and we want to continue to do that and to walk alongside with him as we do that. So we're just excited for it. And so, Phyllis, I thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Yes, on God's side, Jesus is for righteousness and justice. Absolutely. And we can't forget about love. As Bishop Johnson said a couple of months ago, we have to stop divorcing love and justice. If you have too much love and not enough justice, it becomes sentimental and anemic. But if you have too much justice and not enough love, then it can be abusive. And so we have to make sure that we keep those words in sync and married and tied into one another. And so we're excited about it. Yes, it is open to the public on Saturday over at Burning Bush Church at 3:00 p.m. And so I want to bring in Pastor Dejuan Kelker because, man, I want everybody to understand and hear his heart behind why this is so important that this happened for such a time as this. Pastor Dejuan Kelker, you out there, my brother?
Yeah, how you doing, Brother Kemp? Good to see you.
Man, brother, you already know how I'm doing. We just
Yes,
had a
sir.
conversation. No,
Yes,
man,
sir. Yes, sir.
but doing
Yes, sir.
really well, man. I want to go right into this, Pastor Kelker, because while you brought this to us, man, the cops and community conversation is not anything new for you in Burning Bush. But here's what I want our audience to know, man. Why did you do the cops and community conversation before when you did it? Tell us when that was, and tell us why it was important for you to do it then.
All right. First, I want to just thank you for having me on the broadcast, giving me an opportunity to, share this platform with you to talk about these things. Man, we did it maybe a few years back. My cousin actually was shot and killed by the police, by the Akron Police Department, and that prompted a few of us to get together and just try to begin a conversation. Because even back then, we had a lot of rioting, looting, and a lot of things that a lot of violent protests. And so the goal was to answer some questions because at that time there was a lot of confusion in the community as to why he was shot the way he was and everything. So there was a lot of questions. People had a lot of questions, and at that time we had some public officials and some officers that were willing to answer the questions. And so we came together then, and it went pretty well. We were able to get some things out in the open, but it kind of just stopped there. Once that thing blew over, it kind of just stopped there. And now, with the recent things that's been happening, not just Jalen Walker, just other things that's going on in the community with the cops and versus the community. It seems like it's versus the community, but we have a chief now who, once we talked a little bit, we you through you we were able to sit down with the chief, and he voiced his desire to be transparent. He voiced his desire to be transparent, and so just asking him, would he be willing to sit down and just have a conversation with the community? Because back then, now there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of things that the community is ignorant to or don't have knowledge of. That's going on, and a lot of things that maybe the community just don't understand. So my heart is just to kind of begin the conversation, to bring us together. It's not often that we get both sides willing to sit down and even have the conversation. We've been invited to the table, to a table that we've never been invited to. So it's opened up doors for us to kind of just find some common ground. And that's what I'm hoping this event does. That's what I'm hoping this meeting does. I'm hoping that the mayor, the chief, the officers, the community can come together and try to find some common ground to begin the conversation to where we can lean towards some reconciliation. It's a lot of things that the community doesn't understand about the Akron Police Department, and I believe it's a lot of things that the Akron Police Department doesn't understand about the community. And what better way to try to begin this healing process than to have a seat, sit down, and talk about it. We're not coming. I'm not bringing everybody together to argue. I mean, I know people are going to emotions are going to be involved, but it's not an attack session on the cops or attack session on the community. It's really just some adults coming together to dialogue and have honest, open conversation about how they feel and what kind of things can we do to kind of bring a resolution to this issue.
Absolutely. And again, that's going to be this Saturday, 3 p.m. over at Burning Bush Church. All the community is invited. This is not just for particular audiences, but it's for whosoever will let them come. Right? We want
Yes.
adults there. We want young adults there. We want young people there because young people also have a voice. And so, with that, I want to give my man over at the mayor's office, Danico. They had something over at the Urban League where they brought together 16, I believe it was 16 to 26-year-olds, and had that same type of dialogue. Because here's the thing, there's a book out there that's by Peter Block. I don't know if you ever heard of Peter Block, Pastor Kelker, but he has a book that's titled Community, The Structure of Belonging. And he talks about there's 6 different conversations that we need to be having. And the very first one is the invitation conversation. And he comes from a total countercultural perspective that honestly reminds me of Jesus, right? Like when Jesus met with people and he encountered people, he never really met, but he encountered people. What he always did was he gave them an invitation in to begin to have conversation and discussion. And what I hear, Pastor Kelker, is like we're kind of doing the same thing. Hey, man, we want to present the invitation to come into an environment and say, hey, man, let's have really good discourse about the things that maybe we don't understand about one another so that we can gain understanding. So what I'm not hearing you say, Pastor Kelker, you can lean into this a little bit. What I'm not hearing you say and asking people to do is come to this event to find agreement. But you're saying, no, come to this event to get understanding. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, get understanding. I mean, we may not, I'm not expecting people to come here and all this change with one meeting, but at least this can begin the conversation to point us into the right direction. I want people to come and tell me how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. We may not agree on everything, but I do want you to get some understanding. If you can leave with a better understanding, then we've kind of tapped into what I'm trying to accomplish here. We want people to know the facts, and get understanding on what's going on with a lot of these cases. And I know they're not at liberty to share everything they can about certain situations, but I think if we just can get to the table and have the conversation, I think it can go a long way in the community, because there's a lot of things we simply don't understand. And it's a lot of things that the AP don't understand about the community. And so I think if we can get together, it'll give us an opportunity for everyone's voice to be heard instead of what the Bible say, we lean to our own understanding. I think that's what we see a lot in the community. When things happen, we kind of lean to our own understanding before we have all the facts. Now we have a chief who's willing and open to be transparent and give you some facts. And so what better way to hear the truth and the facts from out the horse's mouth? It's a lot of misunderstandings that I'm hearing, my ears to the community. And it's a lot of things that I'm hearing. We've had a big debate here at my home with a lot of people when I had a little gathering, and it was 50-50. But one thing I noticed in a lot of these debates, we aren't fully educated as to the facts of what's going on, or why did this happen. It's some things that we even talked about that I'm not sure what even I can share. I don't want to spoil it for Saturday, but it's some things that we just don't understand. It's something that just happened. I don't that was big, and the narrative in the community was totally different than what it really is. Yeah. And see, it's things like that why I feel like, why not have a conversation instead of you stand on one side and we're standing on another side, and we all just talk amongst each other, because when you do that without facts, you come up with false narratives and things that are not true. And so what better way than to hear, than to come and have a conversation? And so that's what I'm inviting every side to do. We have some very, thanks to you, we have some very diverse people on the panel. And we have some different opinions on the panel. Everybody's not going to come in here holding hands. Right. We're going to have real conversation. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that opportunity, because at least we can get some understanding. And if we can leave with a better understanding, I think that will help calm some of the issues between the cops and the community.
Yeah. I appreciate that, man, because throughout the course of all this, man, I've gotten to know, and a lot of you are commenting right now in the chat when I think about Brother Gary Watt and also Pastor Jeffrey Dennis. Man, I've been able to walk alongside these two titans in our community, awesome, and really, man, be shepherded and mentored by them. So I appreciate all the efforts that everybody's doing, because here's the thing, there's really nothing new under the sun. And what I know is there are a lot of people out there that are working boots on the ground from the positions that they hold. And for that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for how you're loving our city well, and how you're bringing people to the table to have different conversations, maybe in the way that you're doing them. And here's the thing, if there's conversations that are going on, we want to know about it so that we can help to support it, and help to be any type of instrument that we need to be for the fulfillment of those conversations. But I want to go back here for a second here, Pastor Kelker, because yeah, you said the first time that you did one of these, man, it was because I believe it was your cousin
Yes.
who was shot by an Akron police officer. So that led you to do it. That led
Mhm.
you to kind of get in. So you're not
Mhm.
speaking from a perspective of it hadn't happened to you, but it's
Mhm.
happened not only to you physically
Mhm.
from gun violence. Let me just say that, but also to a loved one in your family. So help me hear and understand the plight that we're in right now as a community, even when it comes to gun violence. You know, I know we can talk about the police and the shooting, but I think also along this conversation is how do we come alongside to help to reduce the violence that we're seeing in our community?
And that's a big thing. That's a big thing for me, and I believe it starts with the church. I believe 100% it starts with the church. I mean, the community needs us. You know, from the early church on to now, the focus was always supposed to be community, and I think somewhere we just lost that. I think we need to bring prayer back. This is why we did the 24-hour prayer, and why, I have nothing against protesting. I believe in protesting, and nothing wrong. I even protested with them. I marched with them the best I could, to the best of my ability. I marched with them, but I still think we have a side in this, and that's prayer. Prayer will always change things. And I think one of the things that that could calm it down a little bit. Now, this is not popular in a lot of people's circles. It's prayer. The church needs to be involved with the community. We need to get out of the four walls of the church and get into the streets, get into the communities, and let them know that we're here, that we love them. Back in the early the 60s, 70s, the church was all the Black community had. Actually from the late 1800s, with abolitionists and that movement, the church was all that the community had. When we were going through things, and dealing with some of the injustice that they were dealing with, it changed their lives to be able to go into a place of love and community, and hear a song sung, or hear a preached word, and it brought everything together for the community. And I think that the church needs to play a major role back into the getting out here in the streets and talking to these people and praying for these people and loving on these people. This is why we try to do what we do with the prayer, with the Akron altar call. Random times we went out to just communities and baptized people and fed them and prayed for them. The church just need to be more involved. This piece with the Akron police, I believe that if we could see find some type of common ground and see some type of unity with the community and the cops, I think that would also help, because we're going to need the cops. We're going to need to make that phone call one day. It's possible that we may have to make that phone call one day too, and we want them to be on our side. We shouldn't be fearful. We shouldn't have that fear or have that doubt that we can even get assistance from them. So I think conversations like this, church getting out into the community, will help kind of calm some of this prayer, kind of calm some of this violence that we see down. Getting back out here, talking to these people, giving them resources to be in better situations, because most of the crime is due to what? Places that they're limited in, limitations and things that's been placed on some of the Black people in the community's lives. And so I think it'd be a great opportunity if we could just come together with this thing, and then just have the churches more involved into the community. I mean, that's my lane. I can't. I have no politically correct answer. My lane is prayer, and we're the church. We have to be the church.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's many members on a team, right? And every member has an assignment and has a skill that they do well.
Yes,
I'm not asking offensive linemen to pass the ball. I'm
exactly.
asking you to go and block. And so,
Exactly.
hey, we're looking for the church to be the church, and the church has to be praying. The church has to be worshiping. The church has to be praising, and the
Yeah,
church has to be standing in the gap for the city, because this is His city.
yeah.
So let me ask you this, Pastor Kelker. Can Saturday serve as you use the word reconciliation? I want to use the word restoring or repairing broken trust? Can that be kind of the beginning of, and I don't just say with cops, right, or with the
Yeah.
community, but I want to say relationally, can trust be restored, or at least begin that process as something like what we're going to do on Saturday?
Well, we know from personal experiences is it's easier to build trust than to rebuild trust. I think where we are, we're in the rebuilding stage. And I think Saturday would, if we can get the type of transparency that's promised, or the type of transparency that we expect, I think that could begin this process of rebuilding the trust. I think that people know, and this is, and can I tell you this? And I know it won't be popular everywhere, and you
Go
know
ahead.
everybody won't be excited. But when I met the chief, for instance, you know when you're dealing with someone who just, is spitting out fluff. I
Mhm.
really do believe he's a good guy. He's trying to make it better. I believe the mayor is trying to make it better. I believe they're attempting to make it better. Are they perfect at what they do? No, none of us are. But I think they're attempting, just by inviting us to the table. I think they're attempting to make it better. And so when he said he would be willing to come have the conversation, he doesn't have to do that. I think he understands that this could possibly be somewhere that he's walking into that could be really rough for him that day. It could be a rough day for him, and we're going to try to help people understand that that's not what we're here for. But even knowing what he could possibly walk into, he's still willing to do it. And
Yes.
so, if he comes, and I believe if most of the officers and most of the people that come today can if we can start with total transparency, I think that could begin the process. Uh, if we can leave the building with a better understanding, or at least knowing that they're trying to make it better. When you inherit something, you know this personally. When you inherit something, it doesn't all. It takes time to, as a football coach, it takes time to change. If you inherited a team that was 0-10, not that you did that, it takes time to change that culture and that environment. You have to work, and so that's not going to happen overnight. But if we could at least get to a place to where we understand that he's trying to make things better, I think if we can come together and have that conversation, I think
Yeah,
we can
man. I
possibly.
really, yeah, I love that. I love what you're saying. Again, what I want to keep saying to our audience is this is an opportunity, an invitation to bring people in, first of all, to ask questions, to get some understanding. And I think it's about knowing and asking God for wisdom to know the right questions to ask, right?
Mhm.
But two, this is an opportunity, I think, and this is what I've noticed in different meetings I've been in, whether it's been with whomever, whether it's been public officials, the police chief, leaders in the community. What I'm starting to sense a little bit more is this opportunity to co-create,
Mhm.
is the opportunity to co-create together versus this kind of top-down approach.
Yeah.
I love what Brother Gary said about, man, as far as it takes collaboration to change systems. Well, we have to be able to co-create. That's what collaboration is. We're co-creating together, and
Mhm.
it's not this top-down approach. Because I think sometimes, and I'm going to speak for myself, I think Revelation hit me probably about 3 years ago that I want to stop outsourcing my responsibility to
Mhm.
other people,
Right. Mhm.
right? And
Good.
so I can remember when Trump was voted in the president, and everybody's like, well, he's going to be out. Well, what we were doing was we were outsourcing the changes that we want to see to other people when we are the speaking spirits. When God has given us the power of the Holy Spirit, of
Right.
prayer, right, and his wisdom to really, man, we're outsourcing too much of responsibility on others. And I got to be able to look at myself to say, no, man, what can I do? And so
Mhm.
that's why I appreciate you and I respect you so much, Pastor Kelker, because you're like, yeah, man, I can kind of be here and kind of sit on the sidelines and kind of wait and see. But it was like, no, man, you came to me. It's like, hey, brother, listen, I did this some years ago,
Mhm.
and hey, I want to do it again. Man, do you want to partner and do it with me? Like, is this co-creation that I
Mhm.
think we could give birth to that allow it to happen with the cops and the community? How do we co-create together? Because here's the thing. Here's the one thing that both sides, I think, are going to be able to agree on, Pastor, is that both sides are going to be able to say, yep, is the system flawed? Absolutely. Does the
Mhm.
system need to change? Absolutely. But
Mhm.
here's what the two sides have to understand is that they can't change it in and of themselves,
Right.
and they can't change it in and of themselves. But
Yeah.
man, if the two can come together
Yeah.
to identify what needs to be changed, and we can be patient with one another, we
Yeah.
can tarry together, if you will,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
one another, then what we'll see over time, and it may not be in our lifetime, and we got to be okay with that.
Yeah. Well.
Like, there's some things that are low hanging fruit that we can get, but we got to, going back to your point about trust,
Mhm.
but can we trust in the process and in one another that says, okay, man, and all my experience with talking to this person, I discern that they've given me kind of the right things and the way that we need to do it. So, and I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you a little bit about this because we did collaborate and partner on the 24-hour prayer, and it was a beautiful evening. It was something to hear the word of God bouncing
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
1 a.m. off of the buildings, right, and
Right.
it
Right.
echoing throughout,
Right.
which was a beautiful thing. And so, Pastor, let me ask you this. What is your one, not even one takeaway, but what is your one hope, your one thing that you've been praying about as we've been planning? As well as the one thing you said, man, dear God, I hope at the end of the day, if nothing else, people leave with what?
Understanding. I'm sticking to the point. That's the narrative. The problem with the divide right now, the divide in the community is lack of understanding. On both sides. I think they don't understand us, and we don't understand them, and we're not. And it hasn't really been. I mean, there's been some gatherings, and we're thankful for everyone who's gotten together and brought the community together. I think the chief is. He went around talking to football teams and different things like that, and I think that's great. Um, I just want us to be. I hope that when they come, they can hear our heart and understand our intention. Um, this is not popular for a black person to even want to have a conversation with the cops. It's not popular in the community, and I already understand. I took blows for the first one, and I understand what this could mean for some people. Some people in the community don't like this. This is not a good idea, and I'm okay with that. But I want to stand. I want to be able to say, Lord, I did my part, trying. I'm not thinking that uh, Saturday is the end all be all. It's not the total resolution to everything, but what we're doing and what different people are doing, at least the conversation is beginning to happen. So I'm hoping that um, that they hear our heart, and I hope that they can leave with understanding. Watch, I'm not even expecting them to leave in total agreement. Um, if you remember, on the Ark of the Covenant, there's two cherubims, wings, and and the wings are touching. But if you look at the Ark of the Covenant, for those of y'all who know this and study this, their head is facing down, but their wings are touching. So I want to take that thought, and the goal is to show everyone Saturday that we can touch and agree without seeing eye to eye. And that's we may
Amen.
not see eye to eye on everything, but that shouldn't stop us from coming in, finding some type of common ground to agree upon. And that's the goal. That's what I'm trying to do.
Man, that's awesome. Do me a favor here, Pastor. Please let everybody know the time, the location of where we're going to be at on Saturday.
Saturday, 3 o'clock, 131 South High Street, Akron, Ohio, 44308, downtown, Burning Bush Church, downtown. Get there a little early. We're asking you to, those of you who carry weapons, we actually leave them at home, and we want to just come together and have to begin this conversation. We have some very interesting and well-known panelists, and I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity for everyone to say how they feel and get some understanding.
Wow, my brother. Hey, love and respect you, man. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for, man, taking the time to be with us today, man, and kind of talking through this with our audience. You know, man, we always do our one city, so this won't be your last time being on it, man.
So,
Know that
so
we consider you a one city teammate, because it's about the body of Christ. We all have our individual churches, but man, when the back signal go up,
yes, sir.
and he says, "Hey, I need the church to unite," man, that's what we're trying to do. So, brother,
Yes, sir.
thank you again just for your time, for your effort, for your energy, and for your love for Akron and all things in Akron, man. And so, before you get off, man, is there anything that you just want to leave with us, man? Any parting thoughts?
Hey, I just want you to invite somebody out, and come Saturday. I really hope that people come with an open mind, that it's just beginning the conversation. And I'm thankful to, like I said, to everyone who's doing this right now. We're not the only one doing this, so I'm very thankful to everyone who's playing their part. We all have a role in this, and I'm just thankful to have an opportunity to do what we do, and for others to do what they do. But I thank you also for this platform, for an opportunity to just dialogue and have a little fun with you and talk good with you today, man. I appreciate it.
Always, man. We'll be talking more tomorrow, brother. You have a good
Okay.
one now.
All right.
Get
Bless
rest,
you.
my man.
All right. You have a good one.
Appreciate you now. Man, thank you everybody for being with us today. Man, we are excited about what God is doing in our city. We know that this is an opportunity for us as the body of Christ, as the people of God, to kind of stand in the gap for our city, to be able to pray for our city, to praise with our city, but also to be able to supplement and intercede on behalf of our city. And so I look forward to seeing all of you on this Saturday, 3 o'clock over at Burning Bush Church. And like Pastor said, come, man, with an open mind and an open heart. I know that the Holy Spirit is going to be there. He's going to be hovering around us and in the midst of us. And man, I'm excited to see and to feel and to hear what he's going to do on Saturday, 3 o'clock p.m. over at Burning Bush Church. We're excited about it. We're glad that, man, we had the invitation as Love Akron to lean in and to step in and to partner on this event. And looking forward to seeing each and every one of you there. And we're looking forward to our panelists. I thank them for taking the time out to engage in something like this, because it is so important. So, hey, for everybody out there, have a great rest of the day. Enjoy some of this sunshine, because y'all know in a minute it's going to be cold, it's going to be snowing, and we're going to be up in the house locked in. So go out there, get some of that vitamin D and let it hit you. And remember, if you don't do nothing else today, everybody should be saying it with me. Make sure that you love Akron. Keep on moving forward, Akron. We're forever forward. We'll see you soon. Noun to verb, always.